What's that one commercial like?
I'm trying to contact you.
Yeah. It was like,
yeah. Or like, yeah, there's that one, and then there's another one that's like, we're trying to contact you about your car insurance.
Yeah.
Like, it's super weird.
there's like a buy house commercial that was like something like I'll have to find it. I don't know, but I remember it being like, oh, let's see.
Dude, what are we going to talk about?
I have some good questions. Don't you worry.
Oh, gosh.
Shiz. This is what happens when I hit a pump before and then my brain stops working.
Yeah.
All the blood's in my...
All blood's in your muscles. The
One
main
specifically.
vein,
Yeah. When I'm with you, it's in a specific muscle.
Oh, we love
More
that.
of an organ,
Yeah.
truthfully.
An appendage.
Yeah.
But
Nah, man. I mean, are we? How's the troops? How's the police? Are they more respected, less respected, about the same?
right now,
Yeah, because I feel like at one point, like,
dude.
you know, there's a group of people that respect the cops, and there's like a lot that don't. Because like, I don't know. I just think cops keep getting like dumped on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Which-
I don't know. It's more the silent majority, I think, kind of falls under that category that people like and respect officers, but then like you see more and more of them getting shot, dude. Like this past week, dude, I kid you not, I mean, it was like so many. I don't know, it's sick. It's sickening.
Like cops getting shot.
Yeah, like shot or
Like, did you know, or just in general?
No, just in general, like everywhere. We had a guy in Tucson that was driving. I mean, we're not even getting shot, but just like accidents, dude. Like there was a guy driving like code 3, which is like your lights and sirens to call someone else wasn't paying attention or whatever, ran the light and like head-on collision basically and killed the officer in Tucson. So like you got crap like that going on, and you got people like, I mean, you got all the big cities like Chicago or like Baltimore, like,
Yeah.
you know, Maryland especially, I feel like, and all like out in the Midwest like that. A lot of
Haven't there been like a bunch of deaths recently?
yeah, they're like all like, oh, defund the police and this, that, and the other, and then you got guys that are out there sacrificing everything, putting on the line, and then they're getting shot, and so like,
What were the names of those cops recently? There were like a couple like big ones in the news.
I don't know, man. I don't like watching the news just because of that. Like
Was it?
gosh, yeah, like
It was like somewhere back east.
dude, yeah, Wisconsin's a big one. Philadelphia, like all those ones out there, man. Like, yeah, just put like you could put end of watch. Yeah, dude. So the Chicago cop that just got shot.
Yeah.
I work with a guy that I think graduated from the Chicago PD like academy with that guy.
Really?
Like, yeah,
Shoot.
like
Is that the guy or the guy that shot him?
that's the guy that got shot. That's the officer that got shot. Yeah.
That's the thing, though. It's like, I just don't think the cops don't get enough respect for like what they do.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like they're out there.
Well, yeah, dude, and it's like, I don't know if we want to keep this on like on
I
the
don't
pod
know.
or
Fire
not.
away, dog.
No, well, I just mean like in general, like I don't know, like even in Mesa, dude, you got little like knuckleheads, like that just you'll be driving down the street that are 8 years old, flipping you off, and you're just like, dude, like where are they learning this? Like,
Right.
And it's all just it's a cultural thing.
Right.
It's like a lack of like parenting and a lack of responsibility. Like the parents just kind of shuck like their duties to teach their kids. Like if I ever did that crap as a kid, dude, I was getting beat. Like,
Oh yeah.
I was getting either the belt, like wooden spoon, like heck, like a switch. Like, I don't even know, dude. Like you name it. Like if I did anything like that or of the sort, man. Like I remember even just talking back to an adult, it was just immediate. Like and for me, I'll be honest, it took me a lot more times to get physically disciplined than like my older brother. My older brother,
Right.
I think, probably got spanked like once, and then he had it figured out. And I was like, dude, this guy. But then for me, it was constant, man. Like I don't know why I was a knucklehead.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm better for it. I would say 100%. I am gonna discipline my kids the same. And it never was like an abusive, like to the point where it was like excessive. Everything that I received, I would say I earned, like for sure. It was well deserved. Everything that I got, like either like spanked with or like this, that, and the other, all of it was deserved. Like all of it was self-inflicted pretty much because I was a knucklehead, man. But yeah, so I guess to go back to that, man, I don't know. I think it's honestly the silent majority. Like if you drive throughout all of, especially out here in Mesa, Chandler, Gilbert.
Depends where you're at too. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends where you're at in the country, but I would say, I at least in my beat, I'll drive around some parts of it, and I'm getting the finger. I'm getting told to go do things to myself, and this, that, and the other. And then you have other part of literally one street over, and you got everybody you're driving through the neighborhood, we're so glad you're here, waving to you,
right,
and, offering you water and things, and you're just
yeah. So
you got, I don't know, it's sickening though. I don't watch the news just because of this crap. I'm just ugh, this is terrible.
It's weird. I feel like there's almost this perfect storm with the raising of this age group that you're talking about, because our parents would have been. My parents are in their 40s, 50s, right?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't consider them that millennial group or whatever. But then the group of kids that are, 10 to 18 now.
Yeah.
They're being raised by that age group of parents that are the 30s to 40s.
Yeah.
And it's funny because that age group in general, I don't think is a very hands-on generation.
No, that's because that was the generation when technology came out, and so they're all still.
But that, and now, their kids, we've got TikTok, all this access to information, so they're being parented by their phones.
Yeah,
being taught by their phones, and
then the only thing on their phones is F the police,
and hate these guys, they're always screwing up,
and just super they're indoctrinated for one side, and then they're just oh yeah, that's exactly how I think or feel, and it's just it's not how reality is, and so, and I see it too. There was a knucklehead yesterday that was driving without a license, whatever, and officer because it wasn't my stop, and so I wasn't gonna be oh yeah, no, you actually are getting a ticket, and we get a certain leeway on things, but I'm dude, I would, if it was my call, just based on your crap attitude, your car would be mine, and and it'd be done for 20 days in the tow yard.
Yeah,
because that's what we can do, and I was you have a crap attitude, you better figure it out. This officer's cutting you a huge break, and your family a break, and still, man, just still attitude. Giving lip, and I'm oh my gosh, I said, get out of here now, get out of the car, you're on foot now, leave your car here, go. I was so, and little things like that, and that's probably where and we'll probably loop back to this, dude, personal things that I'm working on, patience, man, I suck. My patience is trash. Oh my gosh, I was there probably not even 5 minutes on this stop, and I was about ready just to freaking I was I need to get out of here, dude. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the generation though of just the parents that are just so not hands on, and honestly, it's part of I would say that was probably this the 30s to kind of 40s age group is what started, I would say, almost this hookup culture that we are seeing now.
Oh yeah.
Because you have a lot of single parent homes, and then so then with that, it all is linked. Family's central unit in society, the nucleus family, 100%. Look at all the stats. I would die on that hill. No, because almost every call that I go to that is family fight or this, that, and the other. Mom and dad are no longer together. They have kids in common, and whatever else. And it's just these kids are not being taught properly how to either be a man or the responsibilities of a woman.
Right.
And so there's things that are broken, and it shows, because then a 23-year-old has to show up and be you guys need to learn how to be adults, and also, hey, yeah, your actions suck right now. Figure it out. This is to the juveniles, this is what you can and can't do. I'm sorry that your 5-year-old has to see you guys yelling at each other. It just makes me sick.
Right.
I'm just oh my heavens, dude.
Well, and they're you see these people who are seeing, you get twofold. You get the people who don't do anything with their life because they're just living vicariously through what they're learning online, or these people that they watch or whatever, right? Which isn't good. Or, which I think is the worst one, they see these examples of people who are finding success doing the worst things, right? Doing hookup culture, showing their body, not doing knocking into families, not finding solid people to be with.
Well, they
all
see
these
is the quick success, and they're like, "Oh, I can do that too. I can sell the most,
I can set up an OnlyFans."
Yeah, it's like, man, I can sell the most, like, sacred and personal parts of me.
Yeah.
For success, and like literally, you're selling your soul to the devil. Like
right.
literally, that is, like, to me, like money, dude.
Not worth it.
A thing that you need to survive, but who? I mean, and other people, if they like money, nothing's necessarily wrong with it.
No.
Like,
we all like money.
Yeah, but money's nice, but at the same time, it's like, I'm not willing to sell my soul to the devil just to make a quick,
right.
couple instant money. It's like, I'd rather play the long game, and
yeah,
sure, I'll play the long game, and I'll play the game, like, making the money, but no, yeah, and it's true, man. Like, you have 16-year-olds. Heck, 13-year-olds. I had a 13-year-old steal a gun and run away from home. And I'm like, you're 13. Like, what do you... When I was 13, I was too busy, like, heck, am I going to make weight tomorrow? Like,
right.
And thinking about, like, other... chasing girls.
Like being a kid.
Yeah, being a kid. Now it's like, oh, I got to go get my bag. I'm going to go, like, run away with the gun.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Single mother home, too. I was like, oh... I wish I could say I was shocked, but...
Yeah, I don't know. You hear all these, like, conspiracy theories, and stuff like that, but, like, it's funny when, you look at, like, whenever I think of, like, the social media teaching people now, it's TikTok, right? That's the main one. And, like, if you look at their policy agreement and, like, what you're signing up for, like, how much they can... spy on you, see what you're doing, push stuff toward you.
I don't have a TikTok, man.
No, no. Well, actually, I do, but it's like I keep it separated, and it's just for posting this show, actually. But the weird part to me is, like, if you look at the stuff that they share, like that they allowed their people in China to see, like it's not it's like good programming, videos on education.
And then over here it's like learn this stupid dance.
Right.
Like, gosh, like.
Right.
F the dances.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. Yeah.
Well, and it's like, you want to think that, like, it's just there's, like, not a grand scheme to anything, but you look at it and I just think, man, if you're gonna mess up a society, because, like, don't kid yourself. Like, China's no friend of the U.S., like, they want to be top dog like every other country, that wants to be top dog. And everybody wants to take America's spot, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so I just look at it going, like, man, if you wanted to mess up a society,
just make a stupid app.
Make an app
and have everyone not think
indoctrinate the culture.
Take away the free thinkers, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's how we started as a country.
Right.
Someone's like, F the system. Like, you can't. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Like,
Come on, Jay. I don't want to edit this podcast.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
No, but like. Yeah, that's how it all started. It was like, oh, we can't even think for ourselves. Freedom of religion is not even a thing. Like, we need to get out of here. Like, I'm tired of us getting killed off because some knucklehead thinks he knows better than us and is taking away our like, inalienable rights. Like, so we're going to bounce.
Well, think of how much transgender and, like, gay culture, there's
gosh.
always been a little bit of, like, gay culture's been around, that's been around in small parts, but not as much.
In your face, like, you need to accept. It's always been, like, being gay was, like, oh, like, super hush-hush, like, okay, keep to ourselves, and then...
Now every kid's gay.
Yeah, and now it's like you got 3-year-olds that are like, I think I want to, change genders, and you got idiot parents that are like, you got idiot parents that are like, yeah, that's so great, you're coming out, wow. It's like, that kid's 3.
We need to affirm his identity.
Yeah. No, if I had a kid,
like...
when my future kids come to me, they're not getting TikTok, they're not getting iPads, they're not doing nothing. Like, they're going to be raised the way I was. Yeah. Go outside and play with your friends, hop on bikes. Like, everyone's going to know whose house you're at because everyone's bikes are going to be out in front. Mm-hmm. And, like, yeah, we're out there playing sports, doing sick stuff. Like, none of this sitting there watching YouTube being brain dead. Like, you know how harmful that is to your kid's brain right off the bat? Like, it doesn't teach them anything. They can cry and complain, and a parent's just like, I'm lazy. I don't want to parent my kid. And I can't say anything much because I don't have kids of my own, but I just know what worked. In my household, it was like, hey, quit watching TV. Like, go outside. Like, I don't want you here right now. Like, go outside, jump on the trampoline, this, that, and the other. And that was here in Arizona where it was hotter than Hades outside. Like, parents were just like, yeah. And then eventually we broke trampolines. it got super hot. We're like, okay, his parents got a Wii, but they're like Wii Sports, and that's it.
Right.
None of this first-person shooter stuff, like none of that. It was just the Wii Sports,
right?
And even that was like limited. It was like, okay, like we're playing an hour and that's it.
Yeah.
Like an hour as a family, we're Wii bowling tournaments, and then you're done, like,
right?
Type thing. And so. But yeah, now I'm just I see kids all the time. They're just freaking glued to their screens, and I'm like,
right, the iPad kids and all that. Yeah,
my gosh, dude.
Well,
generation of laziness.
I was watching something earlier today that was talking about it was like some clip with this guy who was talking about the effects of pornography.
Yeah,
and he was talking about how usually it's men, but
statistically,
anybody,
yeah,
but
that out there.
But I'm sure there's plenty of women, but. His point was that most of the time it's brought on by them being exposed as young kids to some level of something pornographic. Yeah. Well, you go on any of these apps, I mean, you slide into it regardless. You can't not. And so, you think you start these kids on getting an iPhone or whatever at 7, 8, 9. They go on there, start looking, see things that they have no understanding or comprehension of,
and they don't understand, but they're like, "Oh, that's kind of nice." I don't know why it is, but I kind of like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then you're just kind of like,
I don't know what that is, but I don't mind. And we joke, like people will joke about that, like, oh, we're just teaching them. It's like, no, you're like they don't understand what that is, and you're starting habits that they don't like. You're messing with this kid before he even has a shot.
Yeah, a kid doesn't have a shot.
Yeah,
and. Yeah, no, like, and I know people personally that were like from a young age, and they were just kind of like, yeah. So that just became like, as a result of that, it just became like a struggle. Yep. Yeah, and like an outlet, a struggle. They didn't understand why it was necessarily either wrong, because they didn't know, like they were never really taught. Like,
right.
All they knew is that they had access to it, and it was like
it felt good. Cool. I liked it.
Yeah, cool. And then I'm just like, whatever. Luckily, like, I mean, for me personally, like, that's never been like, I don't know. And I don't know if that's just like a mental whatever, just discipline, I guess you could say, like, where it's just, I don't know. We like to joke and say we're built different, but like, but honestly, like, I was just kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I like girls just as much as, well, I can't even say just as much as the next guy, because who knows? Who knows?
The next guy might not. He's not taking on the same frequency.
I guess, man. I guess, but yeah, so, like, I mean, yeah, but I don't know. That's just never been, like, one of those things, I guess, for me. Yeah. But I've always been there for guys that were like, hey, man, like,
I'm really struggling, whatever.
Yeah. Hey, brother, like, let's go do something. Like, leave your phone. I'm gonna leave my phone. Let's go to the gym or whatever, and like, go be active. Go on a hike. Go do something. I know the gym's just an easy one, just because, like, who doesn't like the gym?
No, yeah. Well, and that's that was the other thing in this thing I was watching. They mentioned how a lot of it is, whatever. It's like it's a coping thing for a lot of people, and then the last thing they said was that a lot of people do it because they don't feel like purposeful. They don't know what they're doing. Like, they don't feel like they have a meaning or purpose in their life, or they're lacking. They just don't know what they're doing. So that would make sense. It's like, get them out of the house, get them to go do something, because it's like, you feel like, okay, I'm progressing, I'm doing something, making it better, and so. Anyways, but that's like anything. I had a friend who, like, because every different, like, addiction, sin, whatever you want to call it, things that we know are bad habits, like, they all have different stigmas attached to them, culturally. Like alcoholism is looked at differently than pornography or drugs or whatever, right? Like,
they all kind of have like
like you can be a recovering alcoholic and people are like, let's go. But if someone's like, I'm a recovering pornography user, everyone's kind
of like,
oh shit,
yeah.
Or like, oh yeah, I'm a recovering drug addict. Everyone's like, oh, what did you take? Oh, I was really into cocaine. Everyone's like,
wow.
Oh, all right. I'm glad you're overcoming that.
Yeah.
Don't talk to my kids, okay?
Yeah, and then you got, like, ones that are like, that I see daily that are like, yeah, I love fentanyl. And you're just kind of like, and like, I guess even for me, I try to, all right, man, like,
yeah.
How long? And I would get them to talk about it. I'm like, how long have you been hooked on it? Like, do you even want to be hooked on it still? Well, to be honest, no. Like,
nobody wants it.
Like, I'm on the streets now because of it. Okay, man, like, what'd you do before this? Like, how long you been hooked? And try to get them to at least be able to see themselves in a better light of like, yeah, I had this life, X life before I got hooked on drugs that I am now homeless and steal and do X, Y, and Z just to fund my addiction. It's like, because then a lot of times that comes with that is they're like, well, I'll do favors for people. That's what they call favors for people. It's like, what does that entail? So then they're doing
this favor?
So then, yeah, I know. So what does that entail? So then it's like, okay, and then you got another addiction falls onto that because of they're too busy trying to fund the other addictions, and so like it's just a downhill spiral, man. And so like yeah, even for me, I try to help people see themselves in a positive light of like, hey man, like you had this life before,
right? Do
you want to get back to that? And a lot of times they'll be like, no, I don't even know why. Like for me, it's hard to comprehend because I'm like, man, you're living on the streets, like you're having to find X, Y, and Z place to go to the bathroom. You haven't showered in a week. You're like, your beard's all scraggly because you haven't shaved. Like, which isn't like to like sit there and judge or like make fun of it. It's just kind of like, it's just like, dude, like,
why don't you want better for yourself?
Yeah, and a lot of times it comes back to that purpose thing. They're like, I don't know my purpose in life, and so I'm doing what makes me feel good. And why would I work hard to get back to a spot that I would feel the same way that I do now if I don't know what my purpose is?
Do you know what's crazy though?
And so
like every person like I see who's homeless on the street, they still have a phone and they still have like. And my thing is like, man, there's nothing, and I've experienced this too. Like you hop on your phone, you start scrolling through whatever, and like it's so easy to forget what you're even doing that day or the purpose of your day.
And then you're like, 3 hours had gone by, and you're like, well, shoot, now I'm in a time crunch for X, Y, and Z things I need to do, and it's all like.
Yeah, and then you watch some person that you're like, oh, I wish I was them, but I could never. And then you're like depressed and hate yourself. you know? It's like, stop living vicariously through someone else's life and like just do something.
Get out there and do it.
Like do something simple to just. That's like the thing, just even if it's like let's say going to the gym. Even if it's just going to the gym, go do it, work, get it out. Then you feel the reward of you got that little win.
Yeah, even if it's a crap workout, you still are like, well, somebody's, I don't know, one of the golden era boss shoot. Yeah,
here, I'll just cinch this.
There you go. There you go, dude. There you go.
Believe it or not, folks, our shirts are the same size. He's just bigger than
No, that's not true.
He's
what
just
size your shirt?
I have no idea. I just play.
I think this is an XL.
He's just way more muscular.
No.
That's the truth.
You can't believe it. No.
But, yeah, man, I don't know. I always wonder that if I was China or if I was... I'm going to stick with China because I feel like that's really the biggest, threat of all. But comparatively, although I was talking to someone else about this where China's kind of messed up their population because their whole birth control stuff where they're they want men.
Yeah.
Now they don't have any women to repopulate.
Yeah. 100%.
So I mean, they're kind of. I don't know. If I was them, I'd be scrambling for.
Essentially, you could look at the U.S. With the whole... Now, granted, I think I read the stat that, the alphabet, whatever they are, like the alphabet group.
Oh, the LGBTQIA+.
Whatever else. Yeah, whatever they are.
PBS, whatever.
Yeah, you could never... You're always going to offend them, no matter what. You could even try, but I just refuse to conform to that mental dysphoria, or gender dysphoria, whatever.
It's.
But, anyways, they only make up I think it was 1% of the population at one point. My guess is it's now probably 2.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so in your face now. But I think with them trying to push that, you got people that are chopping off the reproductive systems or changing so many things that you don't even I personally no, our population will never get, well, at least I hope it will never get to that point of China's where they're in that kind of situation where they're like, oh shoot.
But I mean, you were just talking about this earlier where it's men and women are not the hookup culture, right? Where it's we're not really building families, we're not really getting married, we're not really repopulating, we're just hooking up and then
the occasional baby pops out of this, but now it's
now abortion becomes a thing, right? Dude. But people are 30, 35 before they're even considering getting serious.
Well, and then you have guys that are wanting that family, and then they with the whole like red pill, they read too much red pill stuff. So they're like, well, then there's no benefit for me. Like I have everything to lose, which is a valid point.
Yeah,
like, I have everything to lose over here. That makes, you know, why would I want to bring that liability in?
Right.
Just because one day, you know, she might be like, you know, I just don't want this anymore, and now 50% of everything you have is gone.
Right.
And whatever potential kids you had.
Right.
Even if you were the world's most excellent father, you're still okay. Well, now you're on limited time to see them. It's like, man, like,
right.
Do I really want my kids to have to pack a bag every other weekend? No, like that is not what's happening in my life. And so then so then that shuts off those guys that are like, let's go, let's make this happen. And then you have the females that are over here wanting the same thing, I want a spouse. I want to go through life, you know, especially in the church where it's like you gotta get sealed in order to make it to the highest degree of glory.
Right.
And then you have some guys that are so shut off to it, and then you have the females that are wanting it so much that then they're like 35 and their biological clock is ticking, and so then respectfully, and so then I was.
It's gonna be too late.
Yeah, they're pretty much done. No, but then
your child's not gonna turn out right.
But then you have people that are having kids like super late, and then they're 60 by the time their kids are even get out of the house, and now it's like, oh man.
Well, that becomes a factor where people are like, do we really have one? Because we're gonna be so old, and then I don't want to be like, I want to do things when I'm 40 and not have to watch for this kid.
Yeah, because then at that point, then you know, hopefully you're in a better financial spot. So then you're like, do I really want to throw a kid into the mix? And at that point, I mean, obviously, God's running your life, not really you. I mean, you have your agency, of course, but and so I guess that kind of moves into our next topic about like that I was thinking about at least talking about at the gym. But what is in it for the guy? Like, I mean, I was asking my buddies, I'm like, man, like what was that actual drive to want to get married?
Right.
And I'm just like, where did it come from? Not just like the extracurriculars that come like after, you know, obviously we got the law of chastity, so I'm like, okay, whatever, like once you're married then you're just blessed off and like, go have fun like type thing. But then like besides that aside, that because that's only one fact, like and how like honestly, like what is the actual percentage of like of that being a main part in your life?
It's like one factor. It's like one factor in the puzzle. So I cut you off. Keep going.
No, like that was just kind of the main question that I had was that aside, with that the extracurriculars aside of like, you know, growing that, which is a huge part of growing a relationship together. Right. But like with that aside, where comes the actual drive to be like, yeah, let's get married? I mean, other than so you got that, and then you have it being a commandment. Yeah. To get married, and we know it's not good for man to be alone. This, that, and the
Starting
other.
to wonder on that one.
Yeah, I'm really just sitting here kind of scratching my head, be like, shoot, I really like it though.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, I wake up, I go to the gym, I go fight, and then I go to work, and then I'm like, sweet, and then I come home.
Are you doing fighting now too?
I haven't gotten
jiu-jitsu or what?
Yeah, like jiu-jitsu and like a little bit of Muay Thai.
Where you train?
I'm in Tempe. There's a place called like Arizona Combat Sports. It's a pretty good spot, dude. Like, I mean, yeah, it's kind of expensive, but it's like all you can go classes. Like, it's not.
How much you paying for it?
I think it's like, I think it's anywhere from like $160 to $200 a month. Okay. So it's decent, but but for the amount of training, like if you're in there, I mean, 4 times a week for 2 hours, man, like you're. Like, one, you get in great shape. You're learning good skills, the discipline that comes with it, as well as, like, just you get a little bit of the camaraderie action going, too. It's just, like, and the mental, I guess, health that comes from it, too. And the confidence. I kid you not, man. Like, it's been a little bit like what I was saying, just, like, with, you know, either being out of town or, like, ringworm, like this, that, and the other, whatever. Like, which is extremely gross, by the way, too. Like, but like with the us when I was going consistently and like getting back into it, and like when I went back and rolled recently, like the confidence that you feel too, not like arrogance of like, oh, I can beat up anybody, but just more like feeling confident and like sure in your talents and abilities of like, okay, like you feel more like.
You feel connected to yourself.
Yes, and you feel more secure as a man because you're in there doing masculine things, and And honestly, I would say that falls under the umbrella of protecting and providing,
right,
and presiding too. Because if you don't have confidence as a man, like, kind of goes back to I think our first time I was on here. Like, you don't have the confidence. Good luck, buddy.
Right.
So I would point anybody that has either confidence issues or anything to find a local gym, go lift weights, go fight, like, and go figure that out for yourself. But, yeah, I can't remember where I was going.
You're asking a question about like the reasons behind getting married, and you're talking about going and fighting, but then like you're comfortable with your routine.
Oh yeah. With my dude. So then go fight, go work, and then I come home and I'm like, sweet, make dinner, or I'll even go to the gym again just because I'm like, I got time to kill.
Why not?
and then
you never get too big.
I guess, man. I've been trying, but yeah. So like you just get in a routine, and that's something that like my pops is like, man, I'm kind of worried like you're getting too comfortable with like not having to worry about anybody else or like not having that responsibility of being in a relationship. And I'm just like, man, like I'm chilling right now. I'm 23.
Yeah.
In my prime, like I'm shooting. Oh yeah, that's another thing, dude. I'm training with my group of buddies.
Yeah.
Once a week, going slinging lead, getting good. Like honestly, like, training hard.
Yeah.
And so like I just kind of have certain things that I do every week, and like people can say, well, that gets kind of boring. If you have your boys, like, like if you have the boys, like, and you do things like this, or like, then yeah. But I will say though, all things aside, as much as I sound like, well, what the heck's the benefit of this, that, and the other, you know, of getting married? Like, I do look forward to that day, and,
right? And
I do look forward to that day where like I grow my posterity and have hopefully a son, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not the only thing, but like I'm not saying that it's like, oh man, like
no, but you know,
got your hopes, man.
Yeah.
I got to keep the bloodline going.
Yeah,
So yeah, that
there's nothing wrong with like that's the thing. Like I think people want to make. I think it's on both sides, men and women. Like, people want women to not like being women, and people want men to not like being men. And, like, you know, men should want to go out and fight and shoot and hang with the boys and have sons that they can teach.
And you have to have that.
Yeah, it's like a natural part of, like, life. Like, that's how it's been for forever. But there's so much of this mixing of, you know, no, men should be more feminine and be more, you know,
in touch with your feelings.
and there's a part of that's good. Like, you shouldn't be going home beating your wife and like getting angry. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
figure out how
balance,
to control
right?
your feelings. Like, acknowledge them.
Communicate. Like, there's nothing wrong with being able to communicate. But then on the other side too, like, be a guy, be a man. Like, be secure in yourself, be confident. And on the female side, like, there's nothing wrong with wanting a guy who's like that, and you know, wanting to spend time with your children, or and not saying that they can't have jobs too, or like be passionate about something, but there's nothing wrong with being feminine and a female. So, anyways, I know like sometimes it's hard, especially nowadays, where you almost like have to feel apologetic, like, you know, or we have to like cover it with, you know, this is just how I see it, but it's like there's nothing wrong with that, you know, and people I think in the world are trying to like blend that line a lot, where people feel bad for being masculine or feminine. It's like just
and I would say like that point of like being in touch with your feelings, like I think it's good to acknowledge how you're feeling,
right,
and be like, yeah, I'm kind of pissed right now, like but learn how to manage that, and learn how to either state that. You don't, like, if you're feeling sad, like, you don't have to go cry about it. Like, I'm feeling a little upset right now. Like, take some time, figure out how you can manage that.
Right.
And but also, if you have somebody else in your life, be able to like express that. Like, don't just be like, hey, like, I need some time. Like, you don't got to get into details all the time. Now, maybe if they keep prying and asking and your relationship is at that point, then like you can probably be like, yeah, I'm just kind of thinking about X, Y, or Z, or this is kind of on my plate right now, like whatever. But yeah, I know for me, I suck at that. Like, I'm not, I mean, like, yeah, if I'm upset or whatever, then I typically tend to push everything down, where I'm just like, I'll deal with it however I deal with it, and that typically goes back to lifting weights, fighting, shooting guns, and all that stuff. And so if I get that taken away from me, and I'm not saying once you're married that stops, but I'm just like, a lot of my buddies have to be like,
right,
reschedule. Hey, I got a newborn baby. Like, I'll have to reschedule. Or like, I can't make it this week because I got X, Y, or Z. Which, not saying that's a bad thing. Like,
no.
Like, hey man, like, I respect it. You're at that point in life, and so sometimes at first that was hard for me because I was like, dude, like, I knew you when you weren't married, or I knew you when you didn't have a kid.
Yeah.
And, like, we used to be able to go out and
do it all.
It was willy nilly. Like, you know, your spouse working or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, hey bro, I got a couple hours to kill. Let's go to gym and let's go get food. Like, things like that. And now it's like, and trust me, like, I like love my buddies, and I'm glad that they're at that point in their lives where it's like, hey man, like, you know, I'm at this point, and so unfortunately I gotta check with the wife and see if I'm good to go. And at first I was like, man, this sucks. Like, like, why would I ever want that? But now I'm just like, now I've had a different perspective, and that's why I've been asking my buddies about it. Hey, apart from that, like, you know, the extracurriculars and it being a commandment, like,
the extracurriculars. The extracurriculars. The after-hour activities. The special events.
Apart from that, and it being a commandment, like, what was your drive? And honestly, like, it seems like the answer that I've mainly gotten is just, you know, I didn't want to go throughout life. Like, I didn't want to go throughout life without them. And, like, I met the person that I wanted to do life with. And that was, and so, these were additional factors that I looked at, but it was mainly I found the person that I wanted to go through life with, and I was like, all right, dude, like, good enough for me. Like, I know, like, and then on top of that, you have them, like, receiving their personal revelation, God saying yes, like, like, and then you can go down that, like, more the spiritual path, and so I
always find that one interesting with the spiritual path answer, because the one thing I think is kind of like, I was telling this to. I was telling this to somebody the other day. We were having a conversation, and and I remember, like, there's a couple people I was, like, dating pretty seriously, and I remember, like, really wanting to, like, advance that ball, like, get to a point. Like, I wanted it. And I remember, like, you know, because you know, if you're religious in any factor, you're gonna, you know, call to a higher power, pray, you know, ask God, like, what. You know, is this the right choice? Like, am I making
this good?
Yeah, like, am I walking into a trap here, or is this, like, worth, you know, pursuing? And I remember, like, one person that I was dating, I remember feeling, like, so strong, like, yes, that was, like, and I had some stuff that I felt like, these were answers. Yeah. And then, like, it wasn't working well. It wasn't going well to start with. And I just didn't want to accept it. But when push came to shove, like, it didn't work out. And I remember feeling for a while, I was like, what the, like, how did this happen? Like, I knew.
Yeah, you're like, but I thought it was good.
Yeah, like, I thought I had those answers. And what I came to realize, at least for myself, was like, I'm not saying I didn't receive some sort of answer, but a lot of times we can affect the answer to make it be what we want. Yeah. And so where I maybe got, like, something from God or whoever you believe in, God, that said, you know, told me something that was good for me, like, would have been a positive thing. I took that and was like, oh, and that means that I'm going to marry this person, or I'm going to get with her, because I wanted that to be. Yeah. And so I think it's really important, like, whenever you're, you know, calling upon a higher power, like, separate, like, your wants and your desires from whatever you're receiving, and then go, okay, does this have a play here? Because I just know, like, for a while, it kind of, like, messed me up, where I was like, man, I don't know if I trust myself with, like, answers and stuff, because I thought I was so sure up here, like, I had known, and then I was like, how could I have, like, how could they have told me wrong? And then I realized, I was like, nah, I don't think it was that. I think I just wanted it so bad, like, it wouldn't have mattered what he had said, I would have taken it as a yes. Yeah. And so that's, like, one thing I've been trying to be really careful about, is that I don't flood my own desires and wants with, like, what's, you know, revelation or whatever we're calling it, right? Spiritual intuition. Because, like, sometimes I think that can happen. Like, I've seen people who do that, and I always, like, now I'm always like, did you get that because you wanted it, or did you get it because it was really, and that's a personal level. Like, I can't answer that for them. Yeah. But I always wonder that sometimes, and so. Well,
I think God also, like, will let you know quick. Like, I mean, like, in that, like, situation, like, hey, I'm really liking this. Is it good? And then, like, he'll let you explore that path a little bit, and but he'll also let you know real quick, like, that's not the move.
Right.
And, like, and he'll do it, like, in a way where, because obviously, like, we know that God wants us to succeed.
Right.
And so it's not like a, gotcha. It's more of like,
like,
all right, figure it out. Like, you know, he watches over us, but he's also not going to take away our agency and be like, no, like, you have to go this way. And it's like, I'll let you figure it out, but you're going to understand real quick that that's not it. And cut it off. So, I mean, and it sucks. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, it does suck sometimes where you're just like, man, like, what the heck? Like, I thought this fruit was good.
Right.
Like, you know.
I thought this fruit was good.
I thought my labors were good, man. I thought my labors were good. No, yeah, man, that's just kind of been the main thing, like, right now. And it's not like I'm one of those guys that's like, I need to get married.
Right.
Like, hey, man, like, when it happens, but I'm also not gonna, like, shirk my duties of, like, you know, going on dates and stuff like that, just because I'm like, oh, well, like, God's gonna throw her in my lap type thing. Maybe.
It's a good spot to throw her.
Maybe.
Would you say you're a relationship guy, or are you more of a, like, go on dates, get to know people guy?
I think for me, like, if I go on a couple dates with them and I'm like I don't know how to really, like, you know, in the church they're like, hey, go on dates.
Yeah.
Right? And so if I'm going on, like, dates, like, here and there with, like, different girls, but then there's one that I'm like, there's one that's a standout, just a varsity player.
Yeah. Shane Ryan, the bench.
They're like,
we put her in the game.
That sounds so bad, dude. That sounds so bad. But if they're
we all got our rosters. Like, like, people try to play, like, we don't. But even girls, it's like you have people that you're trying to go out with, and you're like, okay, yep, no, this works,
going?
This doesn't work.
Yeah,
I think it's good.
Yeah,
you have to.
And so I think if there's like a standout, like, candidate, then I don't even know how to put it. That's so bad. But there's like a standout one that you're just kind of like, I would actively like to pursue this.
Yeah.
One. Like, then everyone else kind of gets put on the back burner, and you're like, then I think that's a conversation you have to have.
Right.
And so for me, like, if there's one that stands out, I like knowing that either they have their roster or whatever.
Right.
I'll have that conversation with them. Be like, look, like, I really like you. Things are going, like, pretty good. Mm-hmm. What are you looking for right now? And I feel like that's kind of like also on the dates leading up to it. Is like, well, like, I'm looking for a relationship. Cool. Okay. Like, either we're on the same page or we're not. And if they're not, then, like, but if homegirl's like, like, I really like where things are going too. I don't really want to date anybody else. Then, all right, cool. Then, like, let's just make this thing, like, official. And we'll continue to date. It doesn't mean that, okay, now... Like, and I think this is where a lot of guys go wrong. It's like, okay, well, now she's my girlfriend. I got her, and I don't have to keep dating her. It's like, no, dude, you're gonna keep dating her up till marriage and after marriage, and even into, you know, whatever you believe afterlife. You know, and so a lot of times I feel like guys fall into the trap of, well, she's my girlfriend, so now it's just, hey, come over, we're gonna watch a movie, we're gonna make out, cool, we'll order food, and now it's just like, now every time you hang out, you're flushing money. It's like, no, dude, it's like, take her out, go do something, and it doesn't have. That's another thing, man. Guys want to be dropping fat money on, like, stupid things.
Go on a drive.
X, Y, and Z. Go on a drive. Go park out. Like, go watch the sun. Go chase the sunset together, man. Like, go drop the tailgate.
Girls like silly things.
Yeah, and, like, drop the tailgate. You go out there. Heck, like, get a football. If she's athletic, dude, go to a park, throw the ball around. Like, honestly, like,
toss the pigskin.
Toss the pigskin, dude. Hum that thing, dude. Like, and run some rounds.
Hey, you're gonna.
I know. Hey, all right, you're gonna button hook, like, have the football and draw it out, like, old school. See, that's another.
And then tackle her.
Yeah. Hey, a little physical, little interaction, dude. Break that.
Don't let her get to the end zone yet.
No.
She's got to work her way.
Yeah, not in my house.
Maybe a field goal.
Yeah. But yes, like, that's another thing, man. I feel like a lot of guys, like, oh, she's my girlfriend now, so I don't have to, you know, I got her on lock, and it's like, dude, you're gonna be, sorely mistaken, man. Like,
I told my brother the other day because he was telling me how he's, like, more of a relationship guy, and I'm like, okay, whatever, right? That's fine. And I told him, I was like, you know, honestly, if you're someone who prefers just, like, and especially at his age, 'cause I told him, I was like, dude, like, you're in high school.
Oh yeah, dude, kiss that goodbye.
You can't really progress it anywhere, anyways.
Yeah.
For another couple years.
Yeah.
So even if you find a girl, like, let's say best case scenario, 6 month shelf life. You know what I'm saying?
Keep her on the Rolodex.
Yeah. And so I was like, if you are someone who like is more a relationship guy, and I think a lot of young guys now, when you're our age, where it's like, okay, we're starting to look at that. You have options that makes more sense. But in high school, especially. I think this would solve a lot of issues with the dating scene and some of the hookup culture too. Because like people aren't really dating, people aren't really communicating. They're texting, they're snapping, they're doing they're scared. And it's scary in general. Like, but you got to get over that.
You do, because then literally I was talking with I think who was I talking? I was talking with one of my buddies or my brother. I think communication right now, like in our generation, is trash.
Yeah.
Like, how many times do you get a girl that you take out and you're just like, yeah, like, I'm kind of feeling this. Like, this is cool. She's laughing. Like, she's giggling. She's all like, yeah, like, I had so much fun. And then, to your face, you're like, okay, cool. And then either ghost or you get maybe you'll get a text that's like, hey, like, I had a really good time, but da-da-da-da-da-da. And you're just kind of like, now we got to go dissect that. Okay, then, like, what even happened? Or, like, hey, do you want to... And then maybe, depending on the girl, sometimes I just won't even care. I'm just like, whatever. Because, on the rare occasion it happens, like, I'm just kind of like, whatever. Like, I don't care.
Right.
But then sometimes you'll be like, hey, like, all right, well, do you want to meet up and talk about it? Or, like, because to me, it appeared like you had a good time. So, like, just for future reference, when a girl's laughing and giggling like this, like, how can I read through this just so you can help me out, know? And maybe just not even try to, like, get back with them, because obviously at that point you're just kind of like, yeah, like, whatever.
Right.
But maybe you're just like, hey, just to teach me a thing or two, because I'm here to learn.
Right.
What did you enjoy? What didn't you enjoy? Okay, cool. I thought you were arrogant. All right, cool. Like, I'll work on that. Like, cool. Like, what things did I do to make you think I was arrogant? Well, X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Okay. Like, I appreciate your honesty. Like, that's all I really was looking for. Like, but, I'll definitely work on that. So, sorry things didn't work out between us. Da-da-da-da-da. And then you're just like, thank you, next. Like, you got to hit him with the soft next, though.
Right.
That's the thing that I didn't learn is, like, there's a book that I read, and it's called...
What's it called?
There's a book that I read by a guy that lives out here in Arizona. I can't remember what part of Arizona he lives in, but I want to say it's in the valley somewhere. But
for sure,
great book. I would say it falls under that red pill stuff, but it's called The Unplugged Alpha.
Okay.
I want to say the guy's name was like Mark Cooper.
Okay.
I want to say.
Yeah.
Anyways. Yeah, there's certain things that when you read it, you're probably like, like, I don't like that.
Right.
Like, that sounds a little too red pill.
You take what you want, you leave what you want.
Yeah, and like, take it, try things out. But that's one thing that I did learn is, like, as far as the dating thing, he's talking about spinning plates and, like, talks about how you can categorize girls as to, like, who they are. If they're just, like, you either plate them or plate them, don't date them, essentially, is where... It's like you got the juggling act, you're spinning a plate here, spinning a plate here. Same thing, like, for attributes for us. It's like, okay, I'm working on patience, give that a spin here, working on humility, it's like spinning that here.
Right.
Like anything. And so, like, it's a juggling act, and so you plate them, don't date them. But, like, when a girl is, hey, I'm not really feeling this, that, or the other, okay, no worries, I'm glad, it was nice to meet you. Soft next, like, you don't have to say soft next to them, but you just don't make it a big deal. Like, why? No, whatever.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And depending, like I said, it depends on the girl. Where you're just like, hey,
let's
talk about things. But if they don't respond, like, okay,
it probably wasn't even.
Then it wasn't
because they probably don't.
Then honestly, they probably don't know, and they just found. Honestly, what it comes down to is they probably have another dude, and it's just kind of like, oh yeah, they like that guy more.
They weren't that interested.
No worries.
Right.
Like, soft next ain't nothing but a thing.
Yeah.
Take that plate down, start spinning another one. Like,
right.
And that sounds so messed up.
How many people are in this world? Like 7 billion or something.
7 billion.
7 billion. Yeah. And half of them are women. So, well.
Yeah.
We hope.
Yeah, half of them. Were at one point.
We're women.
They're at least born that.
Yeah. But no, I think you're right, because part of it's communicating, right? Just being willing. But then also a part of it's being secure in who you are and just going like, one, I can take the criticism.
Yes.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're right, but I can look at it and just go, okay, is there any
same thing?
Is there value to it? Is there anything worth from what they said to take it in? And maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Like maybe, a lot of people self-reflect, so it may be actually something they're insecure about that they're pushing on you. And so if it is, then you go, I think I dodged a bullet.
Oh, 100%.
And you move on, right? But yeah, like begging, whining for it, like, you just you gotta take.
You don't gotta diminish your value as a man just for some girl that's either immature or doesn't know how to communicate. You're at that point, like those are two red flags right there that you're just kind of like, I can do without. Like, thank you for showing me those. Right. Thank you for showing me your true self and your true colors, because now I see. Oh, I don't need that.
Would in my not life. Want that.
Don't want it.
Well, then you add it to the list, right? You're like, okay, do not work well. Like, I don't work well with these personality traits or this type of person or attitude, but see, that's what I think is the waste of like a lot of these young people in this age group where it's a safe zone. I would say because you're not really like you're not going to get married. No one expects that from you. There's even break it. Not fascinating. But back to what we were talking about, which was. We're talking about relationships of some sort.
Yeah, dude. I don't
remember either.
No.
I think we're talking about dating in high school.
At like 35, I gotta bounce.
Okay, cool.
We're chilling though. Sorry, put us on a time crunch.
No,
that's my bad.
No, you're good.
Bad.
Hey, yeah.
I got a tea time.
Yeah,
I got a tea time.
Fair enough. It's already 1.2. Yeah. But yeah, no, I just think a lot of young people are missing out on valuable time where they could be. They're in a safe zone to get to know people, find out what they like, what they don't like.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, too, like, we talk about, at least from a guy's perspective, we talk about how girls, it's almost like, they like traits that maybe they shouldn't, or they're wanting a lifestyle that isn't really, like, compatible with marriage or those steps. And sure, there's some cultural normalization of that going on. But I think the part that's interesting to me is that if kids would start using that time to get to know each other, communicate, go out, it opens people's eyes where they're like, oh wow, I do not want that. Oh, I do not want that jerk. I do not want,
Well, and it's crazy because then you see like kids, like you're saying in high school, where like instead of using that time to be like, oh, this is what I like and this is what I definitely don't like,
right?
And whatever else, they're like too busy thinking like with the wrong head, for example, and like they're only thinking about one thing, and because everyone's hormones are just like going crazy, and so then like it does like I would say like mental, emotional, sometimes physical damage to each other, like all because they were just thinking about one tiny aspect in regards to the whole grand scheme. And then you get the girls, like the dudes that are like, well, I'm 16, I don't want to take care of this kid, and then like you got the single moms now, and then now she drops out of school, and like whatever else comes with it, but. It's crazy, man. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, I don't know why people. It doesn't get easier by not doing it. That's really in my opinion. It's like, you got to go in, you got to start meeting people, talking to people, engaging with people.
Well, and I think now what makes it tough is like, you have. I guess kind of the unrealistic expectations too. That I guess is kind of be like a shift, but kind of.
No, go ahead.
It's like unreal expectations that the girls now are putting on the guys.
Right.
Like when it used to be back in the day, the guys were the prize and the girls would compete for that guy.
Right.
Oh, he's got a job. Like, oh, he's X, Y, and Z. He's the stud. The girls would compete in order for like him.
Right.
To choose one of them, and now it's like so vice versa, where it's like
men are chasing,
and they put these girls on a pedestal,
right.
and like, and this, that, and the other, and it's honestly like the way that it's supposed to be is guys, like we're not. I don't know how I can really put this, but like. It should go back to when you put girls on a pedestal and you're like, oh man, like, and put yourself lower than them and to chase them, and they're like, oh, that's when you're simping.
Right.
And this goes back to the kind of topic we were talking about, is the difference between being a gentleman and simping.
Right.
And like I had one girl that was like, yeah, I need, when you show up, I need flowers, and like, where are they at, and things like that. And it's like, hey, like, that's earned.
Right.
Like, don't just, like, if I show up with flowers because I'm a gentleman, and it's not, I'm showing up with flowers in hopes that you like me enough that maybe I can get some, physical interaction later, or I get something out of this later.
Yeah.
I'm a gentleman, but you clearly possess these traits that I like, and have treated me to such degree that I'm like, for this girl, I'll get her flowers because I would like to get her flowers,
right?
Not because I'm simping and putting her above me. Therefore, I'm going to do these little acts in hopes that she chooses me. It's like, I'm a gentleman. I'll get your door. I'll come up to your door, knock on your door, and get you. Like, I'll walk you to the car.
Right.
Like, this, that, and the other. Like, I'll be a gentleman, but the moment that you disrespect me, or like that, it goes unappreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, depending on the girl, sometimes I'll be like, hey, like, I noticed you haven't even said thank you all night. Like, what's up with that? Like, have you noticed that at all? And I'll even ask them. And typically at that point, it's like, all right, this is getting ridiculous. Like, I'm not. And honestly, like,
choose your battles.
Choose your battles. But like, and sometimes if it's just an ongoing thing after you brought up, like, I hate that. Like, and I'll not put up with it. Like, it's one of those things that I'm just kind of like, you're not grateful. Because I grew up in a household that was, yes, ma'am, like, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir.
Right.
Like, thank you, please, like, you're welcome. Like, just normal things that you think would be taught.
Right.
And then you got girls out here that are just like, you open up the door and it's just, nah, like, and I can't tell if it's just because they're stupid and, like, don't, and, like, they aren't, like, aware of their surroundings or what's going on. And so or like they've just been used to that treatment that they're just like, oh, I don't feel the need to say thank you. It's just, it should be expected. And it's like, no, like, yeah, it should be expected to a certain degree, but there's still that level of mutual respect where you still say thank you. And like, it just blows my mind. And so, I can't remember where I was going with that, but
no, you're good.
I was just thinking, simping, the simping and the gentleman gestures, like, I had someone ask me recently.